What's going on, good people? Welcome into the Delmarva Sports Insider, the only live and local show giving you all local sports all the time, also known as the greatest show in America. I'm Sports Director Trayvon Miles.
That's right, and I'm Brandon Bossert. There's a lot of movement this week in local sports. DIAA athletes and coaches back for summer activities this week. And, of course, NASCAR's big announcement up in Dover.
That's exactly right. Welcome on into another episode of DSI. Brandon, we've had some interesting developments when it comes to high school fall sports since the last time we spoke on this show. A step forward was taken, first of all, in Delaware high school sports this week. Monday was the first day for summer high school activities for certain schools under a regulation approved last week. DIAA member schools that have approval from their own district or school may begin summer athletic activities. These activities include coaching out of season, workouts, conditioning programs, and open gym programs, which can be held indoors or outdoors. All activities, of course, are subject to limitations.
That's right, but what comes next for DIAA? Well, they have two more board of director meetings this month and next month before the fall season begins. And topics up for discussion include start dates, safety measures for resuming practice and competition, of course, regular season schedules and championships. I know that that's on the minds of a lot of people, is what type of regular season and championships can we actually have in the fall? And of course, DIAA is stressing that anyone who returns for activities, whether they be athlete, coach, or whoever, to practice social distancing and please wear a mask. And meanwhile, the MPSSAA has released a detailed statement of plans for the return of high school activities in Maryland. In the roadmap, it calls for a guidance for local school systems to re-socialize students in the athletics and activities in a safe and controlled environment.
Yeah, so the most immediate news is that local school boards can now allow teams to organize workouts on site, including conditioning, weight training, or other exercise, of course, with social distancing and a select amount of students per session. The association is set to give updates weekly regarding the start of fall practices, which is supposed to, and I say supposed to loosely, begin on August 12th. So what does all of this mean for the fall season and beyond? It's a step towards live high school sports, but is it the right step? And what is being done, Brandon, to keep these athletes safe?
That's right, Trey. Well, DIAA will meet two more times this summer, like we mentioned. What factors are at play, and could there be a delayed schedule? We spoke with DIAA Executive Director Donna Polk for this week's Insider Interview.
We hope to be able to bring back sports if we can, if it's safe. That is the goal. We want our young people to be able to, exercise and experience a great part of high school. Just dealing with COVID and then shutting down in March, that was, nothing that we all expected. We all, including myself, were looking forward to our semifinals and finals basketball games on both sides. I think it was going to be great, exciting basketball games. So just the stress within that self to be able to get that taken care of and that canceled on the same day as our board meeting, and it was a lot.
When would those summer activities be taking place, and what do they look like this year compared to last year?
How is it looking different now? We are planning for the unknown versus if everything was normal, we would be just setting up, making sure facilities for football, all of the contracts or things are in place, meeting with athletic directors to make sure that we're getting rules clinics in and just preparing for the upcoming year.
Is there concern in DIAA right now with the rise in cases? Is there a chance that we might see a postponement of summer activities if we continue to see cases rise?
If that happens, we have to consider that. If we continue down this road in another week or two and we're back at phase one per the governor, then we have to do what is required. And if summer school is no longer able to happen, then, athletic activities are not going to be able to be permitted.
In the meantime, Polk says DIAA is stressing safety precautions, social distancing, wearing a mask, screening questions, but any testing of athletes or coaches is left up to individual schools.
We're stressing the need to be safe, the need to take, if you're going to allow your programs to go, these are the requirements that need to be in place to make sure that our student athletes are safe, to make sure our coaches are safe.
And as for the fall season, there's a lot that is out of the hands of DIAA, and more decisions will be made at board meetings in July and August.
Once we hear what school is going to look like, the format, how that's going to look, if we have to make adjustments to the start of the season, if we have to look at pushing back championship dates, what that looks like as far as the amount of weeks and requirements that we need to get to that point. The formulas in regards to ranking, all of those things will be discussed with our sport committees. And then our sports medicine advisory committee will be making the recommendations in regards to the medical aspect of that and what measures we need to put in place. This is a test for us on how we're going to be able to show that, hey, our member schools are able to manage this and do this in a proper way as long as it's safe and we're following the appropriate protocols from the state's orders and the public health guidelines for this to actually occur.
So basically the timeline is determined by, of course, this virus, and two of the biggest factors in play for the return of play will be the virus itself, whether the curve can continue to be flattened, and of course what school looks like in the fall. That is also undetermined right now, Brandon.
That's right, Trey, and we have to remember that these are student athletes, so we have to make sure that we get the school right in the first place. But like Donna said, there's a lot that's out of the hands of DIAA as of right now. I mean, if we're going to have school virtual, then what are the chances that we see fall sports return this September, October, November? Yeah,
I saw a tweet yesterday that said high school football in Texas was unlikely this year, I should say.
Yeah.
That's not great news for the rest of the nation.
Absolutely not.
Not saying Texas rules all, but Texas high school football is one of the closest things that we have in America to college football.
That's
so many great players, so many great teams come out of that state. If they aren't playing, I think it's really hard to see anyone else doing so. Now, it's also interesting because Maryland, one of the states in which we film, is also one of the few states in the country that doesn't have numbers climbing up again as we see in so many other places. So, man, this is just such uncharted territory that we are in, and we just really don't know.
But we have to remember that this virus knows no boundaries, and just because Maryland's not seeing an increase as of right now, we could be seeing it. We are seeing it in Virginia, and a slight uptick in Delaware as well. So if Maryland wants to continue to keep these numbers low, it might be smart for them to continue with these closings that we've been seeing. But like you said, we've got another month before we even see the opening of fall sports practices. So like Donna said, this is going to be a test run of sorts, having these summer activities.
And I'm totally on board. Like we said before, if there is no school, then why are we going to try to put together football teams, try to get kids in huddles and try to play field hockey in the fall? It's just not going to happen.
I understand wanting to get your highlight reels out there, but we also have to remember that the health and safety of not just these athletes, but the public in general should be the #1 priority.
Agreed.
All right, let's move on to a local athlete who is trying to make her way in Division I. Miyuki Shoyan was one of the best goalies in the area during her time at Parkside.
Yes, she is. I remember her, but the only thing holding her back has been a series of injuries, but still she persists. Check her out on an all-new After the Whistle.
I've had to work twice, 3 times as hard to get back to where I was and improve even further.
Miyuki Shoyan left a legacy in net for Parkside. 2-time first team All-Bayside, 2-time second team, an 11-2 record her senior season with under a goal against average.
Playing soccer at Parkside taught me how to love and enjoy the game and have fun with it, but also there was competitive side to that.
But the one thing that has plagued Miyuki's soccer career has been a series of unfortunate injuries. A torn ACL at the end of her sophomore year and then more adversity to end her junior campaign.
I got kicked in the face and I got knocked out and I ended up breaking my jaw, a green stick fracture in my jaw.
But Shoyan persisted, coming back stronger every season, and the setbacks only made the keeper stronger in the end.
I can come back and even be better than I was before my injury if I work hard and am persistent with it.
Now the Drexel Dragon prepares for her redshirt sophomore campaign after posting solid numbers in the cage in 2019. Her goal is to improve her foot skills, a necessity in today's game to make the jump from being good to being great. And the most important thing, just getting on the field and having fun.
Have fun with my team and make connections and bonds with people that I know I'll be friends with for the rest of my life and hopefully not get any more injuries and stay healthy.
Would love to see her have a full season on the field, and Miyuki is now actually rehabbing a shoulder injury, but she looks like she is ready to go if and when Drexel gets back on the field.
That's right. Shoyan is currently studying health science with a focus on pre-med and wants to be an ER physician. Pretty cool. All right, that'll do it for the A block. We're taking a quick commercial break, but when we come back, history could be made, it will be made at Dover International Speedway later this summer. The latest on half a dozen races on the docket next on the Delmarva Sports Insider.
I'm Brian Fleming, head coach, St. Michael's High School. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.